This is too much. It's been too much for one day.
Okay. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Legs, and I would greatly appreciate if you would consider supporting the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there and it inspires me to keep creating. I really want to give a huge thank you to all of you guys who have subscribed, who have interacted, who have come and joined the ride for Big Brother. I absolutely love this show. I love being able to talk about it, and I'm just so grateful to have this community here. Now we are going to get into our every 2 to 3 day-ish review that I do on the live feeds to catch you guys back up to speed. Our current HOH is Mickey. She stole that from Reilly with her power. She originally put up Keanu, Kelly, and Reilly. However, Keanu won the veto again, veto superstar, and he took himself off, being replaced with Jimmy. So right now there has been a lot of chaos around this house. A lot of different conversations, a lot of mess, and a lot of confusion because why is Jimmy up when he is a solid number for Mickey? That has been the big question all week long. It is looking like Jimmy is going to be the one that goes if he does stay on the block. However, if he wins the blockbuster, it looks pretty likely to be Kelly. As of right now, Reilly seems pretty safe, but we're going to jump into Tuesday and Wednesday in the house and talk about a few little things that happen. And I just want to let you know, if things feel all over the place, if it feels like we're having conversations that then turn out to be nothing, that then sort of turn out to be a whole nothing burger, it's because it is. This house is very confusing. The gameplay is and while it is entertaining to watch, it is definitely a little bit whoosh. And just to touch on the TV show a little bit, because there was a couple of scenes that I was like, whoa. The first scene is we did get to see the Reilly and Mickey fallout after Mickey steals the HOH. Reilly was pretty upset. And we talked about their extended apology conversation on the live feeds. They did show it on the show and they made it seem like it happened right afterwards, but that conversation actually happened like the next day or next morning or later that day. But overall, they were able to work it out. It was very interesting though, because Reilly was quite upset. Reilly was hurts. And you know what? Hey, if you're Reilly, your HOH is stolen, you end up on the block. It's a rough week, but obviously Reilly has calmed way down. And as we know, Mickey is more of a fan. I also found it very interesting during the veto competition when Keanu won. Nobody cheered. Nobody cheered, including Ava. And Keanu's like, don't you have a prompt to read? And Ava was like, don't talk to me like that. And they had this whole thing where Ava's like, I might look quirky, I might look like this, but do not talk to me like that. We also see an apology conversation after that. But I just found it interesting how tense this week was in the house during the competitions, after the nominations, after everything. It has just been tense in this house. Let's jump into these live feeds. So Tuesday morning begins and Jimmy does make some headway around the house. He has some conversations. We see him talk with Vince, and Jimmy is in this headspace where he's saying he's not going anywhere. He's going to win that blockbuster, but otherwise he's still feeling pretty decent. Now, I will say people like Rachel have sort of been telling Jimmy, well, you know, I don't feel like people have been lying outright to Jimmy's face about the votes, but Jimmy seems very confident, especially when he talks to people like Rachel. He's like, I am not going anywhere. You're not going to see me out of this house. I got this. I feel like I'm going to win a blockbuster more than I ever could. So a big conversation that happens on Tuesday is between Ava, Mickey, and Will. So the three of them, they start to get into this pretty long conversation, fueled a lot by Ava. Ava, to me, showed a lot about where she's standing in the game and a lot about how she feels about a lot of things. Ava starts to go on to this rant about how she's super upset that Ashley was putting out there that she said she was going to save Jimmy. She has no idea where this came from. She doesn't understand how Ava could be going out there and talking poorly about Mickey, which is her ally. And just this entire day, Ava was really on one concerning how she felt about Ashley. I was just like, what is going on? Why do you feel this way? Where did this Ava come from? And again, it's just one of those things where it feels very clear that there's a certain group of people who had their feelings about Ashley from week one, and those feelings are still sort of the same. And I'm not going to sit here and say I think Ashley is the best player in the game, but I think Ashley's reads have been quite good this week. And I think that's something that I at least want to highlight, because Ashley has been 1,000% correct on Mickey's situation. And I think it's even gotten to a point where Mickey, deep down inside, has started to feel a little bit of guilt, a little bit of regret, a little bit of, wait, why did I actually do this? And I feel like we start to see that over these days. It's the reason why Mickey and Morgan have to sit in the room talking mess about Jimmy all day, every day, because there is that regret there. There is that, why did I literally take out a number for myself in favor of jury? But anyway, all of them, though, in other ways, they're over Ashley. They're over Ashley. All three of them, Will, Ava, Mickey, they're all talking about how Ashley can go on the block next week. It doesn't even matter. We'll get her out next week. It does not matter. And I was like, okay, then. We already know that Mickey and Ashley were on tense terms from their own little thing, but I was just very shocked to see how much fervor Ava had. So it was very interesting. Now, the three of them, they do start to talk about building another alliance. And I put asterisk near all of these alliances because the reality is people talk about alliances in this house. It's a thing, but literally the next week you never hear about the alliance again. But the three of them do talk about an alliance, and they start to get onto Keanu. And they talk about how they potentially want to bring Keanu in. He's a number. He could be a shield for them. What's the point of trying to fight him when you can bring him in? So it's a whole entire thing about Keanu. They also throw out Reilly and Catherine. And again, Reilly is someone whose stocks have gone through the roof. I don't know what it is about this entire house, but they love Reilly. I feel like we as viewers, we see one Reilly on the live feeds and things like that, and we're like, ooh, like, you know, it just gives us chills. But the whole house, they love Reilly. I was even watching Adrian. He did an interview with Taryn and Rob, and even Adrian was like, Reilly's a great guy. Like, I love Reilly. He's a really nice guy. I don't know what it is that we as viewers do not see about Reilly, but I feel like we see a completely different person. So they start to talk about this whole entire thing, this alliance. The talkings and the makings of it start on Tuesday, but it's fully formed to a degree. Hold on. It's fully formed to a degree on Wednesday, or is it? So after that group dissipates, Keanu and Will, they do actually hash it out. They talk in the HOH. They get on good terms again. And the two of them sort of form a loose thing. I will say this. Will is a wild card. I'm sorry. Will is a wild card. I would never take anything Will says with 100% like set in stone whatsoever. But the two of them sort of hash it out and form a loose thing where they basically say that they're not going to go after each other. The conversations continue throughout the day. Mickey and Keanu, they actually talk things out next. And once again, very similar thing. They just want to clear the air. They don't want to have any bad blood. They don't want to necessarily be coming after each other. So it's just kind of a little tour of everybody in the group sort of talking with Keanu and getting back on better terms with him. Another big conversation, Rachel and Vinny. Rachel actually pulls Vinny to the side. I think Rachel starts to get wind that Vinny's not really hearing the best things about the things that she may have had to say about him. So Rachel pulls him aside. The two of them have a pretty long conversation because they've never spoken game before, and they want to get on good terms, and they want to make sure that they know that the other one's not coming for the other one. And they agree to sort of have this open line of communication throughout the game. Don't know that either side really took this seriously. In fact, Rachel literally goes to Jimmy later and is like, yeah. And I talked to him and he claims like, you know, we've never talked game before, but he doesn't really have an issue with me. So needless to say, I guess this was for some kind of formalities, but I don't think that we're going to see a Rachel and Vinny work together type of group. I definitely think that Rachel is still actively coming for Vinny after this conversation. But the skepticism continues throughout the day with Ashley. We have Morgan, who's up in the HOH with Mickey and telling Zach and telling all these different people that Ashley's going right on up if she gets HOH. She doesn't trust Ashley. She doesn't want to be around Ashley. And she feels at this point that Ashley has chosen a line in the sand with Rachel and Jimmy. So it's not looking good. I feel like the Ashley stocks had went up and then they plummeted all the way back down with the one side that she had a little bit of an opportunity with. But again, Ashley is one of those players that is on shaky ground. I don't think it matters. I think Ashley could have tied her shoe the wrong way and they would have said that she looked at her, she looked at them crazy and it was time to get her out. I think Ashley is on shaky ground. Though for me personally, I think Ashley's reads on the game this week at least are some of the better ones we've seen in this house. So they also celebrate Kelly's birthday this day. They have a happy birthday for her. It's kind of nice. And pretty much almost immediately, Morgan and Mickey go back upstairs to the HOH room to start talking mess. They celebrate Kelly's birthday, they throw off those birthday hats, and then they literally go upstairs to start talking about this and talking about that and talking about Kelly and talking about this person. It's a whole thing. But Morgan does go to talk to Zach this day, and we are still on Tuesday, by the way. Morgan goes to talk to Zach, and she's basically like, look, I feel like we need to figure out a way where Jimmy's gonna feel comfortable, where he's gonna feel like he has the votes. We need to sort of falsely tell him that he has the votes, so that way he's not gonna try in the blockbuster. And I'm just like, Morgan, in what world? I feel like we got to bring the ego down just a little bit, okay? And I don't think Morgan is a terrible player. I think Morgan is a paranoid player, but we got to bring the ego a little bit because the reality is, on what planet do you think you're going to convince Jimmy? You need to know the player you're talking to. You are not going to convince Jimmy that he has the votes and he's not going to try in the blockbuster. In what world do you think you're going to go up to Jimmy? And this is something that they've been doing all week. Mickey has also been doing this with various people saying, hey, if you win, can you make sure that you don't take yourself down? She told it to Reilly, hey, she tried to tell it to Kelly. Hey, if you win, can you not take yourself down? Can you keep my noms the same? And I just don't know why that side of the house thinks they have this power where they can tell people, hey, don't try. Throw the comp, okay? Throw the comp. You're safe. I just don't. The math does not math for me with that. The night continues. The drinks are flowing. The little half glass of wine that they all get for Kelly's birthday is flowing. And Ava starts to act pretty wacky. At one point throughout the night, Ava literally goes to Mickey and is basically trying to tell Mickey that Rachel is trying to convince her to keep Jimmy. And even Mickey, when she hears this, is like, is this true? Are you sure? What? What are you talking about? Even Mickey is like, huh? And eventually Ava has to kind of be like, oh, no. I guess I didn't really mean it. It's not like Rachel was telling me to do that, but it was just very wacky. I mean, Ava was really, really on one with these people. And she was just so against Ashley that day. She could not stand Rachel. She could not stand Jimmy that day. And I just had no idea what was happening. We also have Jimmy trying to fill in Ashley on a little info by trying to convince Ashley that Zach is actually not really somebody who's very trustworthy, and Ashley does not hear that whatsoever. Ashley is not hearing it. Bad idea. Again, maybe that half glass of wine kind of got to everybody's heads. It gets to the point where Jimmy literally goes to Rachel and is like, oh my goodness, I told her and she doesn't seem to, and Rachel's like, no. Rachel is like, no. You need to go and take that back. She is not ready to hear that information yet. That is not something that Ashley could take. So Jimmy basically has to go recant it back to Ashley and be like, just kidding. I was just kidding. Zach is trustworthy. All that stuff I said about Jack, take it back. But eventually this night, Mickey and Ashley, they do talk out everything. They talk out all the problems they've had over the past couple of days since they had their little squabble the other day. And eventually it does come back around where Ashley does understand the plan and she understands that Jimmy is the target. Let's jump into Wednesday. One thing I forgot to mention is that on Tuesday, Wednesday, Rachel does get slimed in the morning. We actually open the feeds with that. She gets slimed. They all believe that she got a power along with it. But remember, this was the sliming from the BB Unlocked, who is the worst dressed or whatever it was. So she got that. They think she has a power. There's no indicator that Rachel has a power. I do not believe so. Let's open up Wednesday now. So Wednesday morning starts off pretty slow. Everyone's chilling, everyone's chatting, but Jimmy is activated. And this morning, Jimmy thought that he was going to let Keanu know that he is the swing vote. And Keanu took this information that Jimmy told him that he's the swing vote to everyone. First, he opens up with Lauren and, Lauren and Vinny. He's talking to them. He's asking, like, what are you guys gonna do? What are you guys gonna do? And they're both kind of like, well, we're not sure. Keanu's like, look, I'm not gonna lie. Keeping Jimmy for me personally, it is actually best for my game. But at the end of the day, I don't want to be on the wrong side of the vote. You know what I mean? You know how Keanu is. He dominates the conversation. He'll start talking. So he's like, I don't want to be on the wrong side of the vote. So you guys let me know. You guys let me know what you're going to do, and I'll vote that way. But I do want to say, for me, Jimmy being on, in here is way good for me. That's a target for me. That's someone else that takes it off of me a little bit. Keanu then chucks in with Will, gives the same conversation and same speech that keeping Jimmy is best for his game. So that's probably what he wants to do. And Will does later actually let Jimmy know, like, hey, I like you. I think you're cool. I am leaning towards keeping you. And we know Will is one of the 4 numbers that was open to keeping Jimmy. Vinny and Lauren also talk out their votes, and they're kind of unsure of what to tell Jimmy right now because they don't want to give false hope that they're going to vote to keep him. Now, for Lauren, she does say no matter what, she does really want to keep Reilly. However, she's pretty unsure when it comes to Kelly. She thinks that there's pros and cons of both. So Lauren is pretty in the middle, it seems like. I don't know. I think that Lauren would probably end up voting out Jimmy. That's my personal opinion. But in either case, they're trying to figure out where and what they want to do with them. Kat and Lauren talk, and they both claim that both Kelly and Jimmy are equal for their games. So again, they're still squarely in the middle. But again, I just think it's probably going to end up being Jimmy that gets the boot, personally. And we see Rachel and Keanu talk things out yet again. I feel like Rachel and Keanu, they talk things out every couple of days. They say, hey, no bad blood. We want to be cool with each other. We're not coming for each other. But these two are always going to have a secret rivalry. They are always going to secretly be coming for each other, and they will always gun for each other if they have the chance. You cannot convince me otherwise. Keanu and Mickey have a chat, and essentially Mickey is telling Keanu, look, Jimmy's cooked. He's gone. The only person who's actually going to vote for him for real is Rachel. But other people will probably appease him. They will probably say things. So don't listen to what he says. Don't listen if you hear from him that he has votes and stuff, because he is most definitely going to go. But Ava comes to have another rant fest yet again about Ashley. This time she's filling in Mickey about how Ashley came to her at night and told her the vote is changing back to getting Jimmy out, blah, 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 blah. And Mickey's just like, I don't get it. I don't get why it took me sitting her down and having to tell her that Jimmy disrespected me in order for her to respect me and respect what I wanted as an HOH. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. Ava's like, yeah, it's just her guilty conscience. It's just Ashley's guilty conscience making her act this way. That's the reason why now all of a sudden she wants to go along with it. And I'm like, oh God, I can't with y'all. I cannot with you two. But Ashley, Will, and Mickey do meet up later again to discuss Keanu. And this time around, they're trying to basically say that they are cool with him, but they're not so sure about him yet. Mickey's like, look, honestly, if he wants to work with us, what he can do is he can pull all 3 of us individually and let us know, and then he will bring the group together. We should not have to be the ones to do it. We should not have to be the ones to go to him and do this. Mickey overall, though, not seeming too thrilled about this concept whatsoever. But Ashley does admit, hey, if Keanu pulls me and he asks me for an alliance, I will work with him. I don't know. I just feel like I can't afford to be throwing out an alliance, so I will do that. But later on in the night, Will, Ashley, Ava, and Mickey, they do make their alliance, the Core 4. And the role of this alliance is essentially to break up Lauren and fence. And that is kind of where all of the big things in the night sort of stay. So to sort of wrap this up, it is looking like if Jimmy is on the block, he is leaving. In a Reilly versus Kelly situation, it is seeming like it is also going to be Kelly that leaves. However, I will say there was a little bit more question about who was better for certain people. I do think, though, at the end of the day, Reilly almost completely safe. I say almost because this is a cast where someone could be your ally, you could like somebody, but then the next second you are ready to boot them out the house. Look at Jimmy. So I'm saying maybe. Take everything with a big asterisk, a big maybe. But it's looking like Reilly is pretty much fully safe. It is looking like Jimmy is cooked unless he wins. And I think Kelly could be a casualty in the situation, but I think Kelly is a little more safer than Jimmy, but less safe than Reilly. Let's put it that way. So anyways, if you made it to this point in the video, that means you liked the video. So I would greatly appreciate if you would consider supporting the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there and it inspires me to keep creating. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys in my next update. Bye.